I'm Tara from Red Back Porch, and today I'm joined with my master, Kangaroo, and my friend who we're calling Phyllis. We're going to be doing a power exchange cinema where we watch movies and we talk about the different power exchanges that characters in the movie have or could have. I guess we should define what a power exchange is. A power exchange dynamic in BDSM is when one person gives authority and control over themselves or a part of their life to another person.
Sold the lady for 25 cents. I got him!
Phyllis said, I think one of the most common ways people might think about power exchanges occurs in work sites. Yes, a boss and an employee has an inherent exchange of power happening.
Okay, now tell me why you're too sick to work and it better be good.
Yeah, because we have power exchanges in just about every relationship that we have with people. With whether you're a student and you have a teacher, or if you're a boss and you have an employee, those are power exchange relationships. Phyllis, can you give us a rundown of what this movie is about? I mean, I think most people have seen Groundhog Day, but there might be a couple people out there who haven't seen it before or haven't seen it for a while. It's about a weatherman named Phil that's extremely grumpy and kind of arrogant.
Have fun in Puxatawny, Phil.
For your information, Hairdo, there is a major network interested in me.
Yeah, that would be the Home Shopping Network.
Who goes to see the groundhog on Groundhog's Day and then relives the day over and over. Yeah, that's a good synopsis of it. Do you remember any of the power exchanges in the movie? So Rita and the cameraman.
The woman that ran the bed and breakfast. And then the waitress at the diner.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, well, let's watch the movie and we'll pause it as we need to and talk about some kinky stuff along the way.
That was nice, Phil. Big trees.
Stop, Kenny. Look, can you handle the 10 or not?
Yeah. Listen, if for any reason you don't want to rush back, I can do the 5 tomorrow.
Oh, come on. I want to stay an extra second in Punxsutawney, please.
Okay, just a sec. What do we think about Kenny?
Assistant for that guy.
Okay.
Clearly, the roles show that, too, where he's literally dressing Phil as he's coming off of the set. Hand jobbing of, "Your great job, tall trees, ha ha ha," which I take offense to. We've managed to log all of those. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Kenny was a little pathetic, but I can definitely see that being a nice little subby power exchange relationship. Let me dress you.
It was definitely hand jobbing.
Big trees.
Stop, Kenny.
What do you think, Phyllis? Yes. I could not have put it better myself.
Rita, I can't stay here.
Prima donna.
What's the matter, Phil?
I hate this place. I stayed here 2 years ago. I was miserable. It's a flea bag. I'm not staying here.
You're not staying here.
Rita. At first it kind of felt like she was almost a caregiver
Larry's just dropping me off. I booked you in a very nice bed and breakfast in Cherries.
to him because he's such a baby.
Great. You know, I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent
But
happy.
no, I think that he's the one making the unreasonable demands. He's the one doing the action to someone else. So I think that would make him the top, right? Phyllis said it's interesting with that one. In most cases, it would be the boss in control, but because he's the talent, he does take advantage of that position to have certain power and get what he wants. Yeah, he does.
Keep the talent happy.
Anything I can do?
Would you help me with my pelvic tilt?
Sexual harassment.
Within reason.
But he's clearly the one that's in control of what's going on because he's been there the longest, right? The most senior at the very least, or at least that's the position he's looking at it from. And clearly by their dynamic, that's the situation that he's in.
Okay, we'll try it again without the sarcasm.
He's the one that they have to cater to because he's the one that's in front of the camera.
Prima donnas.
He's the talent.
Keep the talent happy.
Phyllis, he's pushing to try and get the control. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Possible.
Hey, no. Nobody honks this horn but me, okay, pal?
Phyllis, but he knows that they need him to make the show work. Right. Yes. Him and his ego.
Prima donnas.
Well, right, and that's what puts him in a position of power, is that they need him. And he could, set the camera up on a stand and do it by himself.
I'm a god.
You're God.
He doesn't need them.
I'm a god. I'm not the god.
Or at least that's the opinion that he has anyways. And because a major network's looking for him.
Phil? Hey, Phil? Phil? Phil Connors? Phil Connors, I thought
Just a
that was
sec.
you.
Phil has got something to say. Phil has got something to say. I'm sorry. Phyllis. My friend Phyllis isn't actually named Phyllis. She wants to remain anonymous. And so since we have Phil Connors.
Phil? Like the Groundhog, Phil?
Yeah, like the Groundhog.
I thought it would be funny to have another Phil on the show today. So, Phyllis, what do you think about life insurance? I think anything where you're exchanging money for services can be a power exchange. You have to continue to pay them regularly just in case you need their services in the future. So the person who pays the money is the person with the power.
He buys whole life term, Uniflex, fire, theft, auto, dental, health, with the optional death and dismemberment plan, water damage. Phil, this is the best day of my life.
That's the person in control?
No.
Okay.
You can compare a waiter who gets paid for something, right, to an insurance company who gets paid for something.
Do you have life insurance? Because if you do, you could always use a little more. Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
So the insurance company is in a position of power because they get to dictate what services can be rendered, as opposed to the waitress who is dictated upon
Jim Beam, ice, water.
whatever services are desired.
Okay.
So I need a glass of water, and the waitress would go get it. But you walk into an insurance company, say, I need a glass of water. They're like, okay, it's right over there.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Phyllis said, plus from their side, you are receiving money to complete a job for them. So at first, I would say the life insurance company has power because they are deciding their prices, making you pay regularly to stay covered. Plus, they have terms on what applications would be accepted if something happens. Yes. Okay.
Right. But look at the extents the insurance companies go to in order to avoid paying out. Right. They're clearly in a position of power because if they weren't, they wouldn't be able to get away with that. Don't get me started.
Phyllis said, also, life insurance companies do generally have big money behind them and solid legal representatives. So they have power based on the money they can put behind their decisions too. You as a customer need to have clear reasons to have something accepted by them. Yes, that's very true. You are dependent on them to do the right thing, to do the thing that they said that they were going to do.
Yeah, and the ramifications for contract breakage for them are minimal, as opposed to you, where it can completely destroy their life.
And you're paying for their help. Yeah, exactly. Huh. All right.
And they're more than happy to give you the bare minimum.
Yes.
In fact, if they could give you less, they would.
If you could just pay us some more money, that would be awesome. Thank you. Huh. Suck you dry.
I'm listening.
All right. Are we ready?
God, it is so good to see you. What are you doing for dinner?
Something else. It's been great seeing you, Needlehead. Take care.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Just a sec. Right, and there you see the dynamic change. Now he's making fun of him because he rejected his presentation. He kind of bagged on him, anything but you, and then he takes a step off, gets his foot all wet, and then Ned makes fun of him, as opposed to if he were a client now, if he had accepted he would have been like, whoa, let's get you a towel, or he'd been like super subservient, right? But that's not the case. Now he's bagging on him for getting his foot all wet.
Just a normal guy who enjoys revenge. Yes. Love it, Phyllis.
Yes. Dwight nailed it. How do you know Dwight, Phyllis? Coworker?
This February 2nd at 7:20 and 30 seconds, Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, prognosticator of prognosticators, emerged reluctantly but alertly in Punxsutawney, PA, and stated in Groundhogese, I definitely see a shadow. Sorry, folks. 6 more weeks of winter.
Just a sec. There are so many power exchange relationships in this scene right here. So I'm really curious as to which one you're going to pull out and flash at us. Phyllis, a whole town stopping what they're doing and waiting for a groundhog to come out, then believing what he says. That's a totally a power exchange happening. A groundhog is basically telling people how to live for the next 6 weeks. I love that so much. That's wonderful. Yes, the groundhog and then the entire town. And they're listening to him. Yeah, exactly. Although not very happily. But, you know, sometimes as slaves, we do what we're told and we may not like it. Also, the announcer stating that the groundhog said it too. So he's taking the power without even telling anyone, just blaming Groundhog Phil for the bad news. Yeah. Rude. Just like a typical religion, right? Oh, yay. There he is. Peter Pope. I was thinking the one that I came up with was the police and then the entire crowd, which is, I mean, not really the whole town, but, you know.
Yes, well, the threat of violence has a very provocative way of encouraging people to do what they're told.
Whether there's a groundhog there or not.
Yeah, do it or this black round thing will smack you.
If you're really good. We'll even get the handcuffs out.
So what's it gonna be?
I'm thinking.
Phyllis said, oh yeah, in society, there's definitely a power exchange between law enforcement and the public.
Yeah, but it's not a voluntary power exchange. It's one dictated upon the person. Like when you're born, you don't go, okay, yes, I consent to this and this and this, but this and this I don't. That's not how it works.
That's true. We could do whatever we want.
Law enforcement is a consent by decree. Like you have no choice. You are being told this is how this is going to work.
Oh, yeah. Don't drive on the railroad track.
So it's a consent by force.
Phyllis said they do have power and there's consequences when people don't listen. Yes, very much agree. It's rules in society that you are expected to follow, and they have means to follow through, so they do have power there. You have the choice to follow or not, but they have control and power to take it further.
3 cheeseburgers, 2 large fries, 2 chocolate shakes, and 1 large Coke. And some flapjacks. Too early for flapjacks?
Yes, for sure. You have very little power in that situation.
Take a look at this.
What is going on?
I don't know, Phil. Perhaps it's that giant blizzard we're not supposed to get.
This isn't possible.
Hey, no. Nobody honks this horn, but okay, pal.
Just a sec. You want to talk about the power exchange in a car? Because the driver's in control, or the driver's the chauffeur. Could go either way.
That's not bad for a quadruped. You gotta check your mirrors, just side of your eye. Side of your eye.
Exactly. Usually the driver is the one who has the power. They can decide where to go, what to do, but he might delegate that power to the passenger to navigate, and they have the control, and the driver just follows the instructions.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
Yeah, it can go either way. Absolutely. Which way do you think it was in this scene?
I don't know, Phil. Perhaps it's that giant blizzard we're not supposed to get.
Phil certainly tried to take control.
Hey, no. Nobody honks this horn, but okay, pal.
I think there was a power struggle going on for sure, but Larry didn't back down to him. No, he didn't. No touchy. Also, there's other things happening in the car, like the radio. Some people think the driver is the one that can decide that. And some people think as a passenger, it's okay to change the stations. So the power of who gets control, that can be different depending on the relationship, expectations of the people involved. Yeah, it depends on who is in control at the steering wheel, whether or not it's the driver, or who's in control of the radio and the navigating. Yeah, you do have like different roles that you're assigned when you're riding in a vehicle. Certainly. That's a really good point, Phyllis.
Or adopt.
Or adopt. Yes, thank you, Master. And who controls the heat? That's another one. Also, for example, whenever I'm driving, one of the first things I'll say to someone is for them to do whatever they want with the temperature because I want for them to be comfortable. So initially, I might have full control of that, and someone might feel like they'd have to ask if they want to adjust it. That's what you were typing. I'm sorry. I stole your idea. Huh. But you're giving that control over to the other person, and they might still ask if they can or if I want it changed. But that's an exchange of power. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're basically in negotiations.
Oh, whoa. You want to throw up here? You want to throw up in the car?
I think both.
For that exchange of power. You're giving up some of your control. They're accepting it, based on your conditions. Yes, also depending on who's in the car too. If your boss is in the car, they might just assume that they have the ability to do things like that without checking too, because there's that underlying power exchange already happening outside the situation. That's very true. And there is like a power shift too when you're in the boss with somebody who is clearly, when you're in the car with somebody, not when you're in your boss. That would be awkward, wouldn't it? But yeah, when you're in a car with somebody who has power over you, there is a definite shift to the power dynamic that you normally would not have in a vehicle. That you notice even more when it's a vehicle that you drive commonly. Normally. There's a power exchange there, but not an appropriate one. Yeah, no kidding. Other power exchange I was thinking of too, you could do like a whole scene, like a Groundhog Day scene as a furry. Like somebody dressed up as a groundhog and then they come out of their hole and,
Hey, you like your guys with the prominent upper teeth?
Wouldn't that be kind of cute? I think that'd be kind of a fun scene to do. One of you gets to dress up all fancy, have a little boutonniere and, top hat on. And the other one would be a little groundhog. No pet play, apparently. Master's giving me the dead stare. Now you so hope people have done that now. How could you not? How could that not be a thing? Surely that's a thing. We'll find it on Pornhub later.
Morons, your bus is leaving.
You guys ready? We better get going if we're going to stay ahead of the weather.
Let's talk about it back in Pittsburgh.
I'm not going back to Pittsburgh.
Why not?
Because of the blizzard.
I thought you said that was going to hit Altoona.
Yeah, I know that's what I said.
Phil, I think you need help.
That's what I've been saying, Rita. I need help.
Well, no spots, no clots, no tumors, no lesions, no aneurysms. At least none that I can see, Mr. Connors.
What about the power exchange with medical professionals? Absolutely, yes. I think that actually in all three of these cases, so he's got the psychiatrist, he's got the doctor that he just saw, and he was talking to his producer and said, I need help. So he's asking all three of these people for help, which right there, that's...
The power exchange with Rita isn't necessarily the same as the other two professionals because that's an established relationship. So the reaction that you're going to see from her with response to him is going to be completely different. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. Like, she's completely baffled as to what he's talking about.
Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline.
No. Really. This is the third time. It's like yesterday never happened.
I am racking my brain, but I can't even begin to imagine why you'd make up something like this.
Because normally he's a sarcastic asshole, right? And now all of a sudden he's like begging for help, which is like, do you have a brain tumor or something?
You want my advice? I think you should get your head examined if you expect me to believe a stupid story like that, Phil.
Very out of character.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting that how quickly, like when his panic set in, he dropped his ego and asked for help.
I think that's generally expected of most Homo sapiens.
Shed the ego.
Well, we are by nature tribal / pack animals, right? So we work in collectives, and normally either a leader is appointed or self-delegates, and everybody just agrees with it, right? Whether by force or by agreement. But once it comes to a point where they need help, all of a sudden that leadership drops, then they drop into a position where they require assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? With medical professionals, we agree to go see them because, well, they've spent the time and energy to learn all this stuff. So they probably know better than we do.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what the fucking news says.
Phyllis said, you are going to someone, trusting these professionals to get accurate information from them and treat them. You need them to be able to get a treatment, prescription, or diagnosis. You have to give over some trust to that person. Oh, yeah. But he had to be vulnerable with each of these people, had to trust them with that information. That's a vulnerable thing. And they can organize tests for you that you do what they say for the test, too.
Of course, if you want a CAT scan or an MRI, you're going to have to go into Pittsburgh.
They're the ones in control in order for you to get the information you need, and you are trusting that the info they give you is correct and up to date with the science, too. There's not like an ultimate control. I mean, you do have the choice whether or not you do what they say, obviously.
I can't go into Pittsburgh.
But you are giving up some of that control and authority in order to get that information from them. It's a good point, Phyllis. Phil? Like the Groundhog Phil? I was just typing that you still have the final control over your body, and if you get second opinions too. Yes, absolutely. The worst. Phyllis said also in terms of a therapist, there's a lot of vulnerability there. You are opening up and have to share things about yourself in order to get the help that you might need.
Yeah, definitely a subservient position.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make yourself vulnerable in order to admit that you even need to go to that person in the first place.
Which it took him, that was his third day there? Well, second day, I guess, is when he finally lost it and asked for help.
Yeah. Well, imagine how many people out in America or out in the world in general absolutely refuse to go to a therapist / psychiatrist / psychologist because it essentially admits that you have a problem, that you need help.
Yes.
And, God forbid men in general should ever admit that they failed to do something.
Mm-hmm. Phyllis said also giving the therapist the power to lead the session and guide you to discover things about yourself, but you can also have the ability to talk about something you want to delve into too. Yes. That's a negotiable thing, just like any power exchange relationship. You get to negotiate how much power you give the therapist, what kinds of things you talk about, where you want to go. If they're a good therapist, I should say.
This thing sticks a little bit. You got jiggle it. Come on out here, pal. Come on, give me your keys, pal. Give me the keys. Friends don't let friends drive, right? Come on, stand up here. Take a deep breath. You feel okay? Really? Okay, you're all right.
Just a sec. Power exchange happening between friends too. Yeah, I would definitely say if one of them is taking the car keys away from the other, telling them what to do, take some deep breaths, stand up. Okay, you're fine. Yep, not letting drunk friends drive, taking that control for their safety and the safety of everyone else. And the friend listens because they have trust there already. Yeah. Although he probably shouldn't have been driving either.
I really don't think I should be driving. No, I don't either.
So what do you think if you were to say have a threesome, with Phil and then the two idiots? I don't remember what their names are now, but what would that look like? How would that work? This is the threesome you're thinking about? Yeah, I'm just curious. Like if it was a threesome with Phil and these two idiots, like if they were all three in a BDSM power exchange with each other, like what do you think the hierarchy would be there?
Well, considering that two of them are in no position to consent to anything, and therefore the dynamic that we get from them is skewed, it's hard to say.
Phyllis said, Phil will totally be a top or a D type. There's no way he'd not be in control. Yes. I think at this point he's not panicking right now. And he's definitely come up with the idea that there are no consequences. So he's in control. Well, spinning out of control. Even when he was spinning out, I think he still had the control about what happened to.
I'm not going to live by their rules anymore.
really noticed that.
Just like that, yes. He likes to be in control.
8, bar, 6, 5, quarters, 3, 2.
Okay, so this isn't a role play that I've heard very often, but you could do a whole role play with a thief and the victim. Oh, or a furry thief. Huh. That one was way cuter.
I didn't know they had hands. You know they had hands?
I love it. I love it so much.
Good job. He just smiled at me. Did you see that?
Believe he did.
Okay, little fella, there you go.
Yeah, you could. That could go a bunch of different ways too. There's lots someone could do with that idea. Yeah, you could incorporate all kinds of chasing and takedown, and I mean, it probably wouldn't be much of a scene just to have one person totally oblivious and the other person doing the stealing.
Felix, what, did I bring up 2 bags or what? I don't know.
I mean, probably want to have a little more interaction than that. But I would think that in most cases, anytime you have a perpetrator and a victim, the perpetrator is going to be the top in the situation, right? That's where the power is with the perpetrator. Could be good, especially for people in a hunter-prey type dynamic too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or even people who like to get into, some more of the hand-to-hand wrestling, and that would be fun. I mean, it might be fun for other people. Probably not for Felix. Probably end up breaking a hip or something.
Rita, if you only had one day to live, what would you do with it?
I don't know, Phil. What are you dying of?
No. I mean, the whole world is about to explode. What do you do?
I just want to know where to put the camera. What are you looking for, Phil? A date for the weekend?
No, I'm just interested in you. What do you want? What do you like? What do you think about? What kind of men are you interested in? What do you do for fun?
Yes, Phyllis. Interrogation scene. I love it. He's asking all kinds of questions. 100%. The strap his producer down, shine a light in her face. Get that bare bulb out. Total grilling, yes.
My heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well, but you don't know me. No, you don't know me.
Just a sec. Do you see Colin right there? Isn't he funny? I said just a sec and he popped up. What's going on? And there's Oso. Oso. Quick power exchange, but dancing together. Him taking the lead is a form of exchange, letting him lead her. Yes, you are absolutely right. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Dogs. Did you have anything to add, Master?
The entire date that he has managed to construct.
Can I buy you a drink?
Because, let's be honest, he's been learning what not to do.
Jim Beam, ice, water.
For you, miss?
Sweet vermouth and the rocks with the twist, please.
Is a power exchange by consent, albeit by manipulated consent.
What are the chances of getting out of town today?
The van still won't start. Larry's working on it.
How wouldn't you know it? Can I buy you a drink?
And this is an example of him learning how to be a better person.
Sweet vermouth, rocks with a twist, please.
For you, miss?
The same. That's my favorite drink.
While attempting to just get what he wants selfishly. It's kind of like the whole fake it till you make it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not endorsing what he's doing, but the point of the story is that he's going through all these mistakes, figuring out what doesn't, fucking things up, and then realizing that's not how it works, fixing it on the next go.
Right. So the power exchange there is him having the knowledge of what's going to be happening in order to manipulate her into doing what he wants. Is that what you're saying, Master? Okay.
If it wasn't for the fact that this is a movie about, well, time travel, right? He's reliving the exact same day over and over. If we were ignoring all of that, the relationship here would be a power exchange by consent, where he's said and done all the right things, and she has agreed to that, and therefore that's why she's out, throwing snowballs with him at kids. But the underlying fact of it in this is that he's learned what not to do in order to get her to do what he wants.
Phyllis said, and he knows he can experiment and do whatever he wants, and he gets to start again the next day, too. So there's power in that, too, knowing consequences, positive or negative ones, won't last too long for him.
Well, this is love.
Stop saying that. You must be crazy. I could never love someone like you, Phil, because you'll never love anyone but yourself.
That's not true. I don't even like myself.
Realize that at his age, if he's having these issues, it's because he's never learned to do this, right? As we grow up and, our adolescence, teenage, adulthood, early adulthood, we go through these dating relationships where we eventually learn, hey, don't do that, right? And he's having to learn all that in like a super compressed amount of time, right? Specifically with her, but just in general, like with Nancy or with the maid outfit girl, where he's dressed as Blondie from the Dollars trilogy.
You got to call him Bronco, though.
Sorry, Bronco.
Yeah, that's because of copyright issues.
Oh, okay.
They didn't get sued out their ass.
Oh.
Well, do you like the way this day is turning out?
I like it very much. It's a perfect day. You couldn't have planned a day like this.
Well, you can. It just takes an awful lot of work.
Just a sec. I think what makes this whole movie so interesting is that he starts off doing all this for incredibly selfish reasons, right? He's trying to leave town or just do whatever the hell he wants to, or get laid by whatever girl he can find, right? And in order to do that, he's having to find out all this information about them, right? With Rita, it's what she doesn't like to drink, or what she thinks about whatever, what she went to school for, right?
Believe it or not, I studied 19th century French poetry.
What a waste of time.
Actually, in the end, teaches him how to learn about other people and care.
I mean, for someone else, that would be an incredible waste of time. It's so bold of you to choose that. It's incredible. You must be a very, very strong person.
While his original reason for doing it is obviously nefarious, because it happens in one day, the next day, he's a completely different person.
I don't deserve someone like you. But if I ever could, I swear I would love you.
Phyllis says, yeah, agree. Well, even the fact that at the start, there's no way he would have bothered trying to find out information. He just find someone that he could use his celebrity card.
What about the satellite? Is it snowing in space? Don't you have some kind of a line that you keep open for emergencies or for celebrities? I'm both. I'm a celebrity in an emergency.
You could see his personality actions starting to change. Yes. As he kind of goes through like his whole grieving process too, where he's in denial, and then he goes through until he has acceptance, and his personality it changes throughout that.
Well, everyone knows that.
You like boats, but not the ocean. You go to a lake in the summer with your family up in the mountains. There's a long wooden dock and a boathouse with boards missing from the roof, and a place you used to crawl underneath to be alone. You're a sucker for French poetry and rhinestones. You're very generous. You're kind to strangers and children. And when you stand in the snow, you look like an angel.
How are you doing this?
I told you, I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd. And there's nothing I can do about it.
To be on point with what we're the topic of that. It's a power exchange with himself, his own ego. Like originally his own ego was driving things around, right? He was being led by his dick.
Lincoln. Walsh. Okay, thanks very much.
Hey.
And then eventually he gets to the point where his compassion about other people is what's driving him. And he's putting his ego aside in order to learn more about Rita, about saving the kid that falls out of the tree, or about the old guy that dies.
Sometimes people just die.
Not today.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it's an enormous shift. Definitely in power in his own mental exchange.
Do you think it is in part because he gets so tired of dealing with his own stuff that he basically has to reach out to other people in order to fulfill his needs?
Hey. Well, who's that?
This is Tom. He worked in the coal mine until they closed it down.
And her?
It's Alice. Came over here from Ireland when she was a baby. She lived in Erie most of her life.
He's right. And her?
Nancy. She works in the dress shop and makes noises like a chipmunk when she gets real excited.
I think it's the repetitive nature of the movie, of the premise, that he is deeply unhappy with everything that happens to him. It gets to a point where he passively tries to learn about other people to get what he wants, and then realizes...
The worst part is that tomorrow you will have forgotten all about this, and you'll treat me like a jerk again.
No.
It's him.
It's all right, I am a jerk.
It's what he's doing that's causing his unhappiness, not what other people are doing, and they don't owe him anything.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? You little brat? You have never thanked me. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe.
Phyllis says, well, this might be the first time he's actually been nice to people before, too. Yeah, that's true. And he's saying that if you were nice and care about people, their interests, you get positive interactions back.
Thank you again.
It's nothing, ladies.
Not even just sexually.
He's the fastest jack in Jefferson County.
But friendship, too. Seeing connections you can make with someone.
What was that all about?
I really don't know. They've been hitting on me all night.
He starts to form connections and bonds with people and actually learns that those are valuable resources to have. And you can't just use people. You have to nourish those relationships. Phyllis says, well, he probably didn't even know that he was lonely, hasn't experienced friendship or connections like this before. With the ego that he has, I'm 100% sure that that's true. So you don't know what you don't know. He didn't realize that he could have actual, genuine relationships with people.
Touch me.
Oh, thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Plus, I think he starts to care about Rita, too, actually having feelings about what happens for her. Yeah. I think that he respects her for not falling for all of his tricks and being really steadfast with that, because he certainly does try.
One second.
And that respect grows into actual, fondness for her instead of, I don't know.
His original look at the weather station when she's up there dancing around in front of it was one of mostly derision.
Mm-hmm. She's fun, but not my kind of fun.
Yeah, he couldn't stand her, didn't want to talk to her or anything like that. And in fact, the interactions shortly thereafter on the trip up to Punxsutawney were very derisive at the best.
He sees his shadow, he doesn't see his shadow. It's nice. People like it.
You are new, aren't you? You know, people like blood sausage, too. People are morons.
Very
Nice attitude.
looking down my nose at you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where afterwards, when he's had to live through this day multiple times, he's actually learned more about her, that she's not just some clown that's out there dancing around like some sort of monkey. She's actually incredibly educated. She's incredibly smart. She's charming and intellectual. She actually has something to add to the conversation.
Well, sometimes I wish I had 1,000 lifetimes. I don't know, Phil. Maybe it's not a curse. It just depends on how you look at it.
Gosh, you're an upbeat lady.
Which, I mean, that's something that you learn by talking to people.
Not talking down to people.
Right, that's what I said. Talking to people.
Phyllis says, and if she had let him get his way, he never would have tried to learn things about her in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Nancy. He only had to learn three things.
Nancy? Nancy Taylor?
Where she went to school.
Lincoln High School.
Her English teacher.
I sat next to you in Mrs. Walsh's English class.
And her name.
Nancy.
Whatever.
And then
Not even for very
he
long.
Still called her the wrong thing and still got laid.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Now, on your knees.
Phyllis says it's interesting, though, in terms of work, she does let him have the power, basically, letting him stay at the better place while she stayed where he didn't want, etc. But when it's in relation to her, she set the boundaries.
Are you seeing anyone?
I think this is getting too personal. I don't think I'm ready to share this with you.
Saying she wasn't prepared to tell him certain things about herself in the cafe, and that's what made him more invested in a way. Yeah, because he couldn't have what he wanted, so he kept chasing it.
Yeah. Ultimately, it forced him to put aside his own ego in order to learn more about her.
Mm-hmm. In order to satisfy his ego.
Right.
Can we take a break real quick? I need to use the bathroom.
No.
And made him care more. It gave her some respect from him, too. Respect that he wasn't giving her at the start. Yes. She definitely earned it. That's for sure. And then some.
Correct.
Lakes and Rivers 400.
Seneca is the largest of these lakes in west central New York.
What are the Finger Lakes?
Jim.
What are the Finger Lakes?
Correct.
Lakes and Rivers for 600.
This South American lake drains into the smaller lake
What is
in
Titicaca?
Bolivia. Jim.
What is Titicaca?
Correct.
Lakes and Rivers for 1,000.
Milky colored from
What is
glacial
the Rhone?
clay when entering Lake Geneva, this river is clear blue upon exiting. Jim.
What is the Rhone?
The Rhone, good for $1,000. You are $500.
Yes, just a sec. Huh. Another quick power exchange, a game show host and the contestants taking turns listening to the host, etc. He's the one running the show, so they're giving over power by listening to him and following the game rules. Yeah, absolutely. That is that was a good one. I wonder if there's like a Steve Harvey role play out there somewhere that somebody's done.
Oh, you mean like this?
Let's not dig into that.
Yes, I'd like a piano lesson, please.
Oh, okay. I'm with a student now, but if you want to come back tomorrow, I can probably...
Well, kind of want to get started. I could give you $1,000.
Come on in.
Just a sec.
Poor kid.
Right. And that's kind of going back to the whole thing with the insurance company. Right. If you pay the insurance company enough or you pay a waitress enough, you can basically get them to do within reason whatever you want. But like, it's clear how much influence and power just having a bunch of money actually has.
Yes. Phyllis agrees. Money absolutely has power involved. Yes.
And so does that piano teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Although the child might be upset about it, but in the end, she'll have to agree too, because she doesn't have a choice.
Phyllis said yes, and the power exchange between Phil and the piano teacher then impacts the child's lesson, which she is also paying for, but at a lesser amount. So he ended up having more power to get what he wanted. Yes, exactly. What do you think about the shift and the change of the relationship between Phil and Rita and what's the other guy's name? Larry.
Skim milk, 2 sugar.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Pastry.
No, we're just setting up.
Pastry, Larry, take your pick.
Thanks, Phil. Raspberry, great.
See, I was just talking with Buster Green. He's the head Groundhog honcho. And he said if we set up over here, we might get a better shot. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Larry, what do you think?
Because there definitely was a shift in his attitude towards them. So is it still at the same? Are they still in the same dynamic that they were with him being the talent?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Let's go.
No, that's the power is shifted because he's less egocentric about
Let me
it.
give you a hand with the heavy stuff.
Right, but he actually is interested and cares about these people because he knows them.
We never talk, Larry. Do you have kids?
As opposed to the piano teacher where he doesn't know her from Dick or the kid, and right now he's simply interested in learning how to play the piano.
Mm-hmm. Phyllis said, there's been so much changing between them. I think Phil and Rita's, it's become much more even power exchange. He still has further to go with it, I think, but there's definitely been a big shift there. Yes.
Mom, I don't think he's breathing. Mom. Oh, my God.
I think that did it.
If you're gonna eat steak, get some sharper teeth, all right? Enjoy your meal.
Oh, thank you.
What was that?
Okay, can we talk about Phil with his superhero powers here? Yeah, you have well, usually it's a damsel in distress in this part of the power exchange. In this case, it's a child falling out of a tree, a little brat
You have never thanked
who
me.
never says thank you. But there's definitely a power exchange going on here by both the hero and the
Villain.
villain. The villain is the child.
You little brat. You have never thanked me.
No, the villain is Phil.
I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe.
Phil is the hero. He caught him, Master.
Now he's the hero. He didn't start off as the hero.
I guess that's true. He was more of an anti-hero, huh? And he was racing to get there too. Got his muscles working. And he gets to see a chiropractor tomorrow. What do you think about thanking someone after they do something for you? Would you consider that a power exchange moment? I think it's acknowledging them and their help, but I don't know if you'd actually say power is being exchanged during it. More just recognizing someone has helped. I would agree with that. In a power exchange, if you are a bottom and you're thanking the top, or a submissive thanking the dominant, that's a normal thing. It's not like you're exchanging power by saying thank you to your dom. So I would say, yeah, it's part of the protocol of being saved. I would say, at least according to Death, it's part of the arrangement.
You're supposed to say thank you.
Thank you.
And be good. This is part of the arrangement.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that Death's point is spot on. There are some things that are unspoken yet expected. Thanking somebody for services rendered or the assistance, whether requested or not, that's considered being polite and a part of society.
Well, in a dynamic, it could be part of the power exchange if that is in your protocol to say thank you as the ritual involved. If that's something that has been specifically negotiated that you are to do as a submissive, it could be considered part of the exchanging power because you're doing something that you've negotiated you will always do. But in general, vanilla life, I think it's more of just an acknowledgement. Yes, I agree. Especially in a case like this. Do we want to talk about that rejection? Inner circle.
Shrugs him off or whatever.
Yeah. He tries to establish his, authority over her by claiming her, and she's just like, no, this is not an exchange I want to take part of.
Hey,
thank you.
would you be at all interested in seeing the inside of the van?
It hurts a little bit to watch, but it's also very funny.
It also kind of goes to show that while Larry might think himself more sophisticated or on like an equal footing of Rita, in reality, he's not much different. And the only difference between Larry and Phil at this point is that Phil's gotten to live 3 years of suffering and misery, and Larry is still in the same day.
Yeah, he hasn't had any growth at all. He's still asking women if they want to go into his van.
All right, now what am I bid for this guy?
Yeah, such a red flag. No.
Yeah, is there free candy in there or what?
75 cents.
I bet 2 bits.
Sold the lady for 25 cents.
Okay, we gotta talk about that. 2 old ladies and poor Larry. It looked like it started off consensual and got very non-consensual very quickly. You're so scared what's going to happen for Larry now. Hopefully they will crown him the fastest Jack in the West. Yeah, I would like to know how that went down, actually.
I really don't.
Unfortunately, they don't. I guess that's in the deleted scenes or something. I'd like to think it was a co-topping situation where it was the two ladies, and then Larry was the submissive in that. Wouldn't that be great? I can see him in a loincloth, like doing chores, scrubbing floors. For 2 bits. Yeah, 2 bits. 2 bits. Oh, wait, Phyllis, it's interesting though. If they've been on him, do they have the full control of what they will do, or does he still have some of that power? I would think that he would still contain some of that power. I don't think that he would be giving all of it up. Even under the best of situations, I don't think he'd be giving all of it up. Especially after the host basically said they could do what they want before they bid. Yeah.
And you ladies, you bid on them. And you get to do whatever you want with them. No questions asked. I don't want to know about it as long as it's legal.
I don't think we can take that as blanket consent, though, certainly.
Why are you here?
I bought you. I own you.
Let's talk about that. I bought you. I own you. Tell me that's not a power exchange.
Yeah, as of 1941, that's illegal.
Huh. Well, first she kind of looked like she enjoyed the pinching too. She did, huh? She is a masochist. I told you. No, I think at this point that they've had like a full shift. Like their dynamic has completely changed. Phil is no longer in control, but he is there to
Is there anything I can do for you
serve.
today?
And he didn't have any reservations about the owning him comment either. No, not at all.
I said stay, so you stayed.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even make a call. He stayed. I gotta check some. Oh, stay.
I would say he's unfazed, but at this point, I think he's kind of amazed. So
They're gone. They're all gone.
he's definitely all in. Yes.
Do you know what today is?
No, what?
Today is tomorrow.
Such a good movie. I love it. So, what was your favorite power exchange that we came up with in that movie? Which one did you like the best? Did you have a favorite, Master?
Yes, but I want to wait. I want to wait until you two give your answers, and then I'll tell you how wrong they are.
Okay, fair enough. Phyllis says, I just love seeing how the dynamic changed between Phil and Rita. I thought it was interesting to see how someone's actions can make such a big difference on how you connect.
What?
How he connects with them. You're absolutely right. It's fascinating.
There's nothing there I want to steal.
Do you want to hear my favorite, Master? Maybe you want to steal mine.
Yes.
I think that my favorite was the two old ladies and Larry. I think that's my favorite that we came up with. Just because I really want to see him in his loincloth scrubbing toilets and such for those old ladies. Or maybe like giving them enemas or something. That was my favorite. Okay. What do you want to steal from that, Master? Anything?
Nothing. I was being facetious
Oh.
on both of them. They're both good. I think it's easy to overlook his own power exchange, putting aside his own self-ego and learning to grow as a person. Because all of these other things are impossible without the personal admission that, he's not perfect and that people fucking hate him.
Phil, you going to the Groundhog dinner?
No, I had groundhog for lunch. Wasn't bad. Tastes like chicken. You two run along. Wow, Larry. Looking foxy tonight, man. Hey, is your troupe gonna be selling cookies again this year?
That's so funny, Phil.
Once he finally gets to the point where he realizes that people don't like him and that the only reason they deal with him is because he's, quote, a personality, that's when he actually starts to grow as an individual. But that also requires a power exchange inside of himself, putting aside his own ego and learning to grow as a person.
He kind of put his ego to death.
Yeah,
literally.
and that was the whole thing with him killing himself constantly. He was so miserable with who he was that eventually he just had to accept the fact that it's either change who you are or just keep killing yourself. And apparently, if he's going to keep killing himself, he can do it over and over and over.
The toast just gets soggier and soggier.
Yep. actually, nothing happens to the toast. It's exactly the same day. Or the next day.
It's true. Huh. Yeah, he really did have to commit to doing it. You're right.
Yeah, he didn't have a choice. I mean, he did have a choice. He could be miserable forever,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's no clear reason for this to all be happening.
Well, what if there is no tomorrow? There wasn't one today.
And it's once you finally get to the end of the movie,
Hello?
you realize that for whatever reason,
Hello?
it was stipulated that in order for him to get out of this, he actually had to become a better person than he was.
Yeah. He just didn't have the ghost of Christmas present and past in order to walk him through it. He had to figure it all out on his own.
The bitch hit me with a toaster.
Yeah, but once he decided to do it, he really had to push himself out of his comfort zone, and exactly what you were saying, Master, having that exchange within himself. Yeah, I think that was a really good point. And you're right, Master, that it was really easy to overlook that.
It's a hard thing to set aside for most people. I mean, if not all people, to realize that they have a personal failing within themselves, and then realize that it's only through education and growth that they'll be able to fix it.
We definitely saw a whole bunch of power exchange examples in that movie. Yeah, I think we might have stretched for a few of them, but I think overall, I think we did a good job of pointing them out and finding them. Certainly, we didn't get all of them, but it was a good one for it. And plus, I love this movie. I could watch it every year. In fact, I think we usually do right around Groundhog Day.
Yes, we do. We watch it every year.
Winter, slumbering in the open air, wears on his smiling face a dream of spring. Ciao.
It's tradition now. Yes.
Ciao.
Well, thanks for being here with us. Thank you, especially to Phil Is 93. Thank you, Master, for participating. It's always nice having you. And thanks to everybody watching. We hope you enjoyed this. You will never be Phyllis 93 again. I think the next one we're going to be doing is Temple of Doom. So we'll have to come up with a Temple of Doom name for you. So let us know down in the comments if you guys can come up with a good a good name for our anonymous member here. A good name. Yes. I like Phil. Phil like the Groundhog Phil. Yeah, like the Groundhog Phil. All right. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next video.
Gobbler's knob.